Welcome. This is episode 5 of Functionally Delusional. I'm Joe. That's Gabriel. He's from Rational Typology.
Hey.
And in this episode, we are going to have a wee old chat about art.
Yeah.
And my first question for Gabriel is, what type of art is appealing to you as an INTJ?
I think mostly art that represents things. Mostly. There probably is other criteria, but I'm not really consciously aware of what it is.
Represent things is like so vague. Things.
Typically the concepts that I resonate with.
Right. So are they themes like, I like a lot of Renaissance art, so it'd be something like getting to heaven or good versus evil, light versus dark, like major themes like that, or something smaller.
Yeah, it's typically things like that. Or I seem to be quite interested in like World War II art or
interesting.
Just when things are the worst, I think I'm just attracted to the worst kind of emotions, and that's probably why I'm attracted to the worst kind of like people on the internet.
Yeah, we know
that. Not
for
you,
sure.
not you. I mean, like
I get you. No, yeah. No, yeah, you're drawn to that. So is it? So it's not like the valor and bravery of World War II. It's just how bad it was for the world and the absolute terror for a lot of people.
I think it's the mentality that led to them. Like the utter like denial of like reason that you be using technology in what it's capable for as well. Just like leads to the worst kind of thing.
Okay. Now, do you have a certain style or that you like the most, or is it just whatever the theme is fine? But it could be like pointillism, it could be abstract, it could be like hyperrealism, or do you care what style, or do you prefer one over the other?
I think I probably prefer not so abstract so I can't understand it. Like I have to comprehend what's happening. Yeah.
So someone like a Jackson Pollock, where it's just literally abstract expressions all over the pages, like, does that not speak to you at all?
No.
I'm sure it wouldn't. I could already tell you're just like, no, that's just any child could do that. I think as I've grown up, I've realized I really like the struggle of a good art piece. Like, oh my gosh, how long did it take you to do that? Or like, how many years of your life did it take you to make that? Now, do you consider yourself an artist? Do you draw? Do you paint? What do you do?
When I was younger, I did. I used to draw quite a lot. I seem to draw when I'm trying to figure out stuff. It's like a way for me to get like low resolution comprehensions of things in a visual format. But it's kind of like a C tier talent. Like I'm not that good at it, and I don't have the right passion to get good at it. So,
okay. Well, is it something where you're trying to figure, like you're actively trying to figure a certain thing out, and you know that if you just do some art, that will be clarified, or is it just when you're in a slump or you're losing motivation, you'll start doing art?
It's like the opposite. It's like when I'm really focused on a thing, then I'll do art in relation to the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're always tinkering with systems. You've always talked about, I'm trying to figure out a model. I'm like really trying to comprehend this person's model. So how does that even translate to what you're going to do in art?
Oh, it's mostly just like symbolic reasoning. Like I was drawing the types when I was doing the art thing. Like when I first started.
Okay.
But then I didn't finish them all. I got some of them done. I was like, well, it's not interesting now. I understand it.
That's so, gosh, I've had the same problem. Like I've made posters and t-shirts, and I'm making a collection of hoodies now on the 16 types. And I did like a whole 16 types in the workplace series, and I only got to like 10 types and I just stopped. I think it's because I don't know all the types very well. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why did you not finish? I find that interesting.
Because it's not the main focus. It's like a side thing.
Okay.
And it's like I'm not that good at art, and so and I don't have the right mentality to get really good at art. Like I've known people like that. Like I've spent quite a lot of time with professional artists, and the mentality they have is just different. Like
What is
they
it?
just, I think they just almost have. It's almost like an unconscious obsession with relating beauty or relating an emotional framework.
Is there objectively good or bad art?
Um, there's techniques that are objective, like something can be objectively realistic or objectively non-realistic. I'm not sure if you can say good or bad because art itself seems to be a reflection of an emotional experience, so that can't be wrong. It can be
Sure.
an appropriate emotional framework and just a simply unethical one.
Yeah. Okay.
But that in itself might be the point. So
Yeah, I've always had issues with like more like postmodern or like deconstructionist, whatever it's called, where it is purposely controversial for the point of the observer being upset, like to get an emotional reaction, but the creator is not, it's not coming from a place of, to me, like they're only doing to get a reaction, not because it was especially important to them to make.
yeah, I get that. Yeah, that doesn't. I think it's kind of weak in a way.
So do I.
As this kind of saying like "fuck you,"
Hmm.
right? Like that's what you were doing. You're just trying to get a reaction.
Yeah, I've had the same discussion with music that like if music doesn't move you, if either like in some sort of way, it doesn't have to make you emotional and cry, but it has to make you go, wow, there's a rising up of emotion somehow in you, then that's objectively, that's considered art, not good or bad, but as long as there's an emotion. And if I look at something, I go, yeah, I mean, it's still life. It's just, it's flowers and an apple on a table. Great. Like no emotion, just neutral.
Yeah. You could judge the technical criteria that was utilized, but
You're right.
yeah.
So we'd like admire it from a technical aspect, but that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive in its own way.
When you get really up close and you like see how the brushstroke was done, it's like, okay, you could see the technique is like, it's clearly not all going in one direction. It was done in a specific way. I can appreciate that.
I saw this person and they painted a rooster and it was so well painted that it looked realistic, and I thought it was a photograph, but it wasn't. And I was like, wow, that's really impressive, but also, why didn't you take a photograph?
What do you think modern art as it is right now? What is the main, if you know, what is the main theme of modern art? Is there one?
To me, it seems boring, but I'm not saying it is. To me, it is. But if people get an appreciation for it, then like all power to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was recently in a museum of modern art. So what did I expect to see? But it is more like on the social justice aspect, not in like America, but like worldwide. So I think that's a trend where that's a real focus, and a lot of exhibits are putting that on as a main, like we're having artists that are talking about oppression and things like that. So real popular right now.
Yeah.
The audience is going to get a treat because I'm going to share my screen. I picked out 4 images that I think are excellent pieces. Like for me, they really resonate with me. First one, this is the Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch. I think he was like 1500s Flemish. I've never seen it in person, but apparently it's like 3 feet tall tall by, it's gigantic. I like this one because each panel like has so much going on, and then there's been a lot of art where people have zoomed in and just be like, this guy has so much detail in each character that when you look at it from this screenshot, it kind of looks like bland, but there's so much going on here. And this has been endlessly studied. What do you think about this?
I feel as though it's very important, but not important for me. There we go.
Okay. That's a fine answer. That's fine. And then the other one is by this artist El Greco.
I like that.
I like it because it's so dark, but it's so you can clearly see like it rising up of, ascending into heaven and all this stuff. Like, it's very clear this is Renaissance art again. It's like very religious. What do you like about it? I just like that it's more like kind of morbid feeling.
I think I appreciate the incongruency between the medieval church and the concept of an all divine being.
Oh, really? Interesting. That's a hot take.
I'm not sure it's that hot.
I think I just like the contrast. There's a lot to look at here. This one's one of my favorite artists. He's done now, Leonid Avramov. I don't know exactly what this art is called, but I use it actually in my coaching sessions with people I ask them, this is like a intuitive versus sensor type question. I ask them what they see, and it's pretty easy to tell who's using intuition, who's using sensation. What do you think about this?
I like it.
Is it raining to you? All his stuff has this mirror raining effect, but does it look like it's raining to you?
It reminded me of when it was raining. So yeah.
Okay.
But it's kind of shining in like the background. Mm-hmm. So, and it's got like an unnatural light to it, which I appreciate.
Yeah. There's a lot of like conflict in this.
Yeah.
So I like this. And then just as an example of truly great art, it's this, I think his name is Bernini. The ability to make marble look soft is like, well executed. Yeah, it's like, how do you even do that? And there's a bunch of clips of this exact piece of art that he did, but it's like, I consider that, like you were saying, the highest level of technical art to do that, to make it look, I mean, you don't get chances in carving marble. You just get one shot. So it's like, you got to make it work. So I thought that was just like an amazing piece of art. What is your thought on this?
I mean, I don't know anything about what it's like to carve marble, but it seems like it would be really hard because it would like shatter. So I'm like amazed. Like, was that done with machines or without machines?
I mean, it's 1500s, so maybe doubtful.
Yeah, like
highly doubtful. No, that's all hand carving. What other thoughts do you have on art? I mean, is there specific advice? I don't know if there would necessarily be advice to give for specifically for an INTJ. Do you think that they should try to view more art or as therapy for unlocking some NI insights? Maybe.
Maybe if you haven't tried it, give it a go. If you like it, maybe it's worth something.
So I think writing art. Okay.
I think writing might be good to try to figure out what you think about stuff. You don't have to, but it might help.
That's a good point. I have tried writing more recently, and every time I get to about 600 words, I get really tired and I stop. What about you? I can't write long form. I can't write like 1,000 words, no problem. What about you?
Yeah. I don't really. I come with stories sometimes, but they're not interesting to other people. So it's like whatever. Well, they might be, I guess, but I haven't tried to make it presentable.
How do you know they're not? How do you know they're not interesting?
I think it's because they're as complex as I can figure them out to be, but using internal reference points. So other people just be like, I don't have your reference point. I'd be like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I would be interested to see if I can understand it. Just like one day if you write something. So I think that's all I was thinking about in terms of art. Is there any last thing? It sounds like you want to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm curious what you think about when people make themselves into a art piece.
Okay, explain that more, just so I know what I'm answering.
Well, if art is self-expression, then isn't the way that you choose to dress a kind of art in itself? And then there's people that take that to an extreme degree.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I was thinking of this quote earlier, and I didn't know if I was going to get to use it, but like there was a year when Miley Cyrus was really popular, and there was some sort of political commentator saying something like, "When you don't have talent, the only other option you have is to be controversial." So I kind of look at people that are overly, like, their brand is their flamboyance, meaning that if you ask them something interesting, they'd have no good response. So it's like, I see people that are outwardly flamboyant as, okay, they don't have any substance. There's no content underneath. Probably the wrong view, but I've always had that view of them being the artist, like the way they dress is a direct reflection of how interesting they are.
So the more noisy their appearance are, the less substance they have.
Generally speaking, I would follow that rule. Yes, there are exceptions. I could point them out in my life. Sure, you could too, but on average, yes.
I'm just thinking because I used to try to talk to people like that because I assumed that they would be interesting. But it was true sometimes, but it was typically like they were interesting because they believed insane shit, not because. It's like I'd talk to one of them and they're like, "Do you know about there's Mercury in retrograde?" I'm like, "Okay, you make decisions based off like a system of planets that aren't even in that alignment." That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess it would be something like you'd walk up to that person and they would start talking about like a Wiccan or something. You'd be like, okay, all right, maybe we could do something about that. Like,
I once joined a witchcraft group. Well, I feel like you should treat people like individuals, regardless of what they look like. But having said that, people do adhere to uniforms, so you might as well take that into consideration.
Well, this was fun. Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off episode 5 of Functionally Delusional?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll pick the topic for next time, and I appreciate everyone watching. Gabriel, thanks for being here as always.
Thanks for having me.
I tried to live without you, just can't go.